podcast, Cinderella Chats. I'm your host, Cinderella Field. Yes, that's really my name, along with your co-host, Sandy Hunter. We are so excited to be here to share some insight about life, love, and relationships. So let's get to it. Hey, good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Well, do I sound nasally?
Not really bad at all. Not too bad. Are you feeling nasally?
Well, I still don't feel like I sound like myself. I know I don't.
Not totally like yourself. Of course, I'm not either. I'm done with the weather. No,
Done?
I'm not. I love snow, but I don't want the ice stuff that they're saying that's coming in. I don't want no part of that.
Okay, but you know what? It's been raining for a while now. I mean, for hours, right?
Oh, yeah, for a while.
Yeah, so I wish it were snow instead. Do you know how much snow we would have right now if it had been snow?
Well, just wait, because this evening is supposed to turn into snow. And there's a prediction of Friday being 2 to 3 inches.
Oh, come on. I want at least 6.
Listen, if it's just snow and not ice, I'm okay with it. When you start getting ice and the trees start getting messed up and people's electricity starts going south, and I don't want to have to mess with all that. But snow, absolutely. Bring it. Bring it.
Well, that being said, I think that people should stock up on or start, taking it like crazy vitamin C.
Absolutely.
Drinking hot lemon water. Because the more we're inside, and then they need to, moisturize their environment because it gets so dry.
Right.
Just to keep ourselves healthy, because the flu or, COVID number, rapidly. I don't know, 24, 55, 67, whatever you want to call it, is running around rampant out there.
I know it's
and
Omicron JN1B or something.
Wait a minute. Isn't that the name of someone's child? I'm just joking.
I'm pretty sure the X-Man would be offended if he heard that.
I don't know who the X-Man is. But that could be any man, really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So how are things going? Everything going okay?
Good. I mean, it's a new year. It's 2024. We're going into, now it's going to get interesting because.
Oh, yeah. Election time.
Well, and the Iowa Caucus.
Oh, absolutely.
I cannot wait, even though, I'm not fond of NH. I'll just say that.
Right.
I don't even like to say the name. I know you are okay with her because she's a woman, but I really like the other woman that keeps talking to Trump a lot. Her first name is Stephanie. And I don't remember what position she holds right now, but boy, I like her. She's an attorney.
Right.
And there have been rumors, if he gets the nomination, that she might be one of his choices.
To run on the ticket with him, which would be fine. I mean, to me, it will have to be somebody that's going to be pretty brazen and is going to be able to handle being on the ticket with Trump, because he's catching a lot of flack right now. We all know. I think Colorado's tried to boot him off the ballot. Maine booted him off the ballot. And they're hoping that it'll stay that way. And I'm not really sure what the Supreme Court's going to say.
Well, how can they say anything else? I mean, if he's off the ballot, then there needs to be a lot of other people off the ballot.
They're already yelling, if he's off the ballot, then they will get Biden off the ballot. I'm like, well, okay.
Well, what about Newsom?
Yeah.
Because that's who will step in for Biden. I mean, come on. I mean, all those trips that he, made his little way around, and then you've got Jeffrey Epstein and all the stuff that's coming out about that. That's pretty interesting. I've been listening to.
Oh, I've been laughing because I'm thinking there are a lot of people all over the world that are squirming when those things, just page after page, gets released. I was I'm gonna be honest here. Really wasn't real sure what it was going to show with Trump, but I will tell you, they pretty much will have said Trump didn't do anything illegal or wrong. As a matter of fact, Epstein, I believe, came to Mar-a-Lago and caused some issues with one of his waitresses, and he barred him from there, booted him out. So I'm not really, I'm thinking we're not really going to have to worry too much about that. But Bill Clinton, shame, shame, shame.
Shame, shame, shame.
What did you do? What you tell me today? Everything that's done in darkness comes to light. I was like, oh my goodness.
Hey, that's a Cinderella moment. That's what happened,
Oh my gosh.
That's one of the definitions of it.
Mm-hmm.
When suddenly lifted from obscurity to honor and significance, well, that means taking something out of the darkness and bringing it into the light. And significance and honor is truth. I love it.
I know, it's great. Truth is good. And, we've said for a long time, sometimes money, I don't care how much you have of it, it just can turn on you. It definitely can. It almost makes people sometimes, I think, feel like they're untouchable. Just untouchable.
You think?
And I think they think that they can get away with stuff and that the rules don't apply to them.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Isn't it?
Anyway.
What do we know about God?
Right.
Doesn't it say everything in the darkness will be brought to the light?
Yes.
Eventually. Which makes me think about all the cleaning out I've been doing lately,
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm doing the same thing. Me and Madison, well, we've started our hunter's attic. So we've got our stuff set up. We worked on our booth. We've got it just so like the way we want it. A few more things to do, and then we're going to start moving stuff in. But what's interesting is when you start digging around those attics, what you find, you will not believe all the stuff that we have found that we can use.
I'm sorry. I don't know. There's like a canary caught in my throat. Attics? You said something about attics?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well,
sometimes you just need to get in there and clean stuff out.
Well, sometimes it's really eye-opening what you find in attics.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes dirty little secrets are found in attics. Did you know that? Or things that people try to keep away from others because they don't really want you to know what they're like truly or what they've done. And sometimes you find journals, pinnings, pictures,
letters,
things from the past. Oh, yes, you do. And that just brings up something, the attic brings up something very interesting to me, to be honest with you, now that you say that.
Yeah. And things that are old that may be worth something, and then things that just don't even need a second look.
Or things that need more than a second look, but an investigation.
True. I haven't stumbled upon any of those yet, but we have found some really cool stuff to put out in our stuff. So I'm pretty excited.
I found some cool stuff too that I forgot that I had. And I found some things that were not easy to handle reading through, or like I said, it was eye-opening, very eye-opening.
Funny how that does whenever you think things should have went one way, and in all retrospect, you just don't realize when you brush the dust off stuff sometimes what it really looks like underneath. Isn't that crazy?
What comes to the surface, like I said, God's word says, whatever is in darkness will eventually
come to the light.
Because what is he about?
Truth.
Absolutely.
So
And
look at all that.
illumination. I mean,
Yes.
bringing it all out. And he doesn't do that to be mean, because he just doesn't. He loves us. So eventually the truth has to come out about things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the things that I now have, mm,
Just like the things people now have that have opened up with the
mhm.
whole Epstein thing. I always tell my husband, it's like, this just isn't a one person job. The trafficking of the young girls and all this stuff. There's just not one person that's doing this.
Well, of course not.
I will say there have been a few Hollywood stars, and I won't mention names, who have said, now, wait a minute, just because they claim to have known me and they wrote me down on a journal somewhere does not mean that I've been to that. Okay, I give those people that. But when you have logged over, I don't know, 38 flights to an island, you're just going to have to do a little bit. There's some explaining, Lucy.
She says splaining. Desi says splaining.
There's some splaining to do.
What do you mean splaining?
Yeah. So I think it's going to get a little bit uncomfortable for a few individuals on a entertainment level, on a political level, and like you say for yourself, on personal levels. I think coming into 24, there's a lot of things being shaken out of the attic.
Mm-hmm. You know, when the first revealing in the attic happened to me, and I thought that was all of it, was within 16 hours of my father passing away.
Wow.
I'll never forget it. It was on the 4th of July. Sure was, in 2021. And the next so many days, as I sat there and I read through that stuff that I found and went through that stuff that I found, I have to be honest with you, it was, I don't even know the word really to describe it, except I read it over and over again because I was like, am I really reading this? And what was my life really about?
Right.
What was
it a facade? Was it real?
Well, what part of it was real and what part of it wasn't?
Right.
And what was it all about, Alfie? And it made me just ask God, are you kidding me? Are you serious? I mean, please show me, Father, what it was really all about.
I think in this case scenario, I think it was something that you needed to see. And it was something from what you've shared with me and not being public, because I think some things don't need to be said. But
right.
I think it was something that you needed to read to where you could heal some of the inner parts of yourself.
You mean I could stop blaming myself?
Yes.
Yes. Because what I was saying was absolutely truthful.
Absolutely. And for people to deny it, that's the sad part. I mean, you watch it in politics and you watch it in the entertainment world, and people come out and they say things, and they, if their reputation is being questioned or their sanity is being questioned, I mean, they say things and they are probably truthful things, but the majority of people tend to say, well, maybe she was a drug user, or maybe he was a sex offender, or maybe, this, that, or the other. Maybe she was crazy, or blah, 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 blah,
maybe
blah, blah, blah.
that person was abusive,
Yes.
Things like that.
Absolutely.
Yes, bam. Bam, bam, bam. 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 Again, more. I was like, oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
No, and this went back to 2004, 2005, 2006.
Wow.
And more. Okay. So it was like, oh my gosh, this has been
how blind
kept. Yeah. So I just went again, but I knew, oh my gosh, I've been down this before. And, on my computers, I had all of this stuff and everything else. And I mean, it was right there, and it was in magazines, and it was all out there. But when you see it in somebody's penning, and they've been carrying that stuff around with them for years and years and years and years, and keep it hidden, What does that say?
It says that somebody is very insecure and have not dealt with their own issues and do not want people to know who they truly are, and which is sad. Can I just tell you that you know what a sad life that is? That a person has to keep up a front of who they are and they can't truly be who they are due to shame. I honestly think when people go through something like that, something's happened to them at a younger age that sets the stage for their life. And they got two choices: either go down that road or make a change and break a curse and go down a different road. And unfortunately, so many people take the easy route.
Well, there are such things as generational curses.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Which reminds me again of a meeting that we had with a pastor one time. And he said, if God were sitting right here, what would he tell you that you were here to do?
Yep.
I'm not going to say what the other person said because it doesn't really matter anymore.
It's minute. No,
yes.
It doesn't matter.
But I said, oh, that's easy. I'm a generational curse breaker. And I really had no idea what was coming out of my mouth. Did you know that? I mean, I'm being very serious right now. And then I did.
Mm-hmm.
So, about my childhood.
Absolutely.
I mean, it wasn't a barrel of monkeys. Okay.
No, it wasn't unicorns and rainbows and all that good stuff.
It was a Cinderella story, wasn't it?
Very much so.
And my fairy godmother and godfather were my great aunt and uncle. Thank goodness. Thank God for them. And then it was these other people over here that gave birth to me. Mm-hmm. And I went, oh my gosh, you know what? You know how I overcame things? I looked at this person, these people, and I looked at these other people where I had this great life. Mm-hmm. And thank goodness my mother gave me away to them at 6 months of age. But I was still very involved with my mother and my father, right? But I just went, I don't like ugly things. It doesn't mean that I didn't have to overcome lots of things that I saw and that sort of thing.
Right.
But for people that don't know me, that want to say they know me,
they don't know.
That's funny.
No, that's comical.
Yes, it is. But I'm not perfect, but I am this close.
Okay, we are joking. Laughing now. I am laughing now. No, she's not perfect, but I tell you, she's the most perfect, imperfect person I've ever met. She's
wait a minute, say that again.
You're the most perfect, imperfect person I've ever met.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
The most perfect, imperfect person I've ever met.
Yes. I like that.
We are all imperfect. I would just dare someone to tell me that they were perfect. I have a real issue with narcissism. Can I tell you that? Have I told you that? I can't stand the whole narcissistic vibe. I can't. And I know we're supposed to love people and love them right where they stand because Jesus was a friend to all. He sat down with the tax collectors and the whole 9 yards.
The thieves,
the whole 9 yards. But sometimes.
The sinners.
I know, but sometimes, and I am a sinner. I have to repent every single day for stuff that I do. Christians are not perfect. And listen, I don't pretend that I am. I'm so imperfect, but God's a perfect. He's the perfect one, the only one. So when people stand up and try to build this facade of a life that I'm perfect, this is my perfect house, my perfect wife, my perfect picket fence, my perfect children, blah, 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 blah. No, that's an outright lie. That does not exist. Because behind closed doors, I can almost promise you there's imperfection.
Really?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh my gosh. You're talking to Pollyanna over here.
I know it.
The sun will come up tomorrow.
Yes. But I'm the same way. I would love, you grow up as a little girl and you want the house, you want the marriage. You want the 2.2 children, the dog, the whole 9 yards, want to have the perfect life. Well, It's wonderful to have Cinderella dreams when you're little. It's so wonderful. The
You know what it's
innocence
like.
of all, the innocence. As a matter of fact, me and Aaron were in a store the other day and we met one of the kids that used to be one of our youth in our youth group when they were young. And I hate it because she told me I'm going to be 35. And I just looked at Aaron. I was like,
Did it make you feel old?
Oh, I felt so old. I was just so distraught when we got in the truck. But what was probably one of the most truthful, honest things that I heard her say was, I would give anything to go back and be a kid.
Oh my gosh, yes. I don't know that I would. I mean, I had to grow up very quickly. I mean, seriously,
But with her, she didn't have a great childhood, but it was just the fact.
Did you?
The innocence. No, I don't think anyone has just a super great childhood. Even
everyone is dysfunctional, aren't they?
Yes, you have some kind of dysfunction. But it made me think all of a sudden was, wow, she's realizing that when they had all these dreams and when they were younger, I mean, they came true. But man, what a hard place this world is. She's got children and they're witnessing all of these things that are going on in the world right now. And there's such a lack of understanding.
Mm-hmm. And morals.
Yes.
I mean, no morals. So you know what? That go into the chapel and we're gonna get married. It doesn't stay like that. Life is no fairy tale, Cinderella says, but it has moments. You better prepare yourself for the rest of it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So, yeah. So when people, and I'm a Facebook watcher.
Gosh, don't tell me that, please.
No. And me and my husband, we have one together and people are like, oh, some people say, well, that's odd. No, because when you're pastors, you have a church Facebook you have to keep up with. You have this you have to keep up with. And so we just built one together. That way, any of our congregation wanted to talk to us message-wise, you have to go to one spot. So every once in a while, we get on Facebook and we'll look at things that are rolling through and what's happening in the world. And it's just disheartening. I had memories pop up from 15 years ago is when we had first.
Oh, I have them pop up all the time. Yeah, and it's just so odd now.
The thing is back then, you say on Facebook, oh, super tired. It was a wonderful day. Thank you, Jesus. Until we see you tomorrow. Good night. Have a blessed night, my friends. These little bitty tiny things on Facebook. Well, now you get these big, huge biographies of how treacherous somebody's day's been, which I don't mind, but I don't think what people realize is that you speak things over your life. You really do. I believe that.
Well, I didn't speak over my life what has happened. I can tell you
well,
that.
No. Out of your mouth, things come over your life. They can. I mean, the Bible even talks about
words are super important.
Yes, they're very powerful.
Agree. Yes.
So if you keep telling yourself you've got a headache, I promise you, before long, you're going to have a headache. And so,
or be someone's headache.
Yes. So when you get in there and you decide you want to spill everything out on how your day's going, people be careful. You start pulling stuff out of the attic. Just be careful what you say, because you can definitely come off as negative, and somebody else that's sitting on the same ledge and looking and reading this could possibly say, well, you know what? It sucks for me too. Positive. That's what I want to see in 2024.
Okay,
some
but
positive vibes.
Okay, I'm just going to have to stop you for a second. Okay. So how does positive, you know who I have a mad crush on?
Oh my gosh. If she says his name today.
Oh my gosh, TC.
We're just going to call him TC, okay?
Tucker Carlson. I just adore him. And
we all know.
I know. I mean, I just adore him because he had the chutzpah to do what he's doing now. And that's telling the truth. How can you possibly tell the truth when all you want to be is positive and kind and thoughtful? I mean,
you have to have an even kilter here. I'm going to tell you right now, Facebook has driven me not to want to get on it, just like the news.
Well, you know what?
And that's because I don't want to hear negativity all the time.
Guess what I think is going to happen with Facebook? I think in the near future, we may be saying bye-bye to Facebook, because I think it's going to be, that's just my assessment, because I am kind of a visionary. I don't have a crystal ball in here or anything like that, just so people know.
She doesn't have voodoo dolls either.
No, and I don't have a big black pot that I stir up a potion and say, oh, show me. But I do see us getting more down to community and relationship building and helping each other, with what we decide to build, with who we can trust and who we're close to as far as neighbors are concerned and that sort of thing. I don't think we're going to have any other choice, I can tell you.
Cinderella, now see, here she is being all positive. We're going to bring it back to the 50 stage. I would love.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I would love to go backwards. Just like I told you this time last year, we were in Ireland and they're about 20, 30 years behind us.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it.
Didn't you tell me yesterday, it wasn't this morning, it was last night when we spoke for about 15 minutes and you said I didn't have my phone with me all day. And do you know how wonderful that was?
Oh, it is wonderful.
Yes. And I told you that I had left my phone the other day and that I don't have to, I don't have to worry about those things. And, I was told that I would never be successful if I didn't have my phone in hand all the time, returning emails promptly and blah, 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 and answering text. I'm sorry, what? I don't want to have a relationship with a phone or an emailer.
No, I totally get it. And I would, like I said, Ireland was 20, 30 years behind us. And it was just the sense of peace. And sometimes I think we just struggle for peace. And I think you finding what you found in the attic was something that gave you some kind of peace inside to know that you're not crazy. You weren't, some of the things that were being said to you were now out in the light. And you're like, okay, these are the things that I felt and thought. And I was justified in feeling and thinking.
Not just felt and thought, experienced.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And knew. And now here it was in
black and white, and they're penning from their own hand, not just on the computer, right,
or not just in an interview or on TBN.
Right.
Okay. So there you go.
Yep. So sometimes we have to go in and shake the dust out, unfortunately.
And we have to wait on someone else. And I'm such a patient person.
Not. we sometimes just really need to step back and say, New Year, I'm going to try to create some changes. People go into this new year with all these New Year's resolutions and all this blah, blah, blah. Listen, little steps. Make a few changes and then make a few more changes and listen to God on the way. Don't just jump out there thinking that you're going to accomplish all these 50 million things in 90 days. Because in 90 days, your list is probably going to be 0 that you're continuing to work on. Just pick a few things and make those positive changes. And that's what you just have to do. My opinion only.
I think that's a good idea, because I think every time I've made a New Year's resolution, it's about 3 days and I've broken it.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you want to put that pressure on yourself? Just say, hey, you know what? I am going to make some changes, whether that be to, let's just say this, people, be nice. The kind of world we live in right now, is it just too hard to be helpful and nice to people?
Well, here's what I know. I know for sure, because I had a conversation with someone that said, oh, all this stuff is going to happen. This stuff is going to happen. And I said, really? I just have to go back to, and this is hard for me. It is, just like saying that the stuff that I found in the attic, it finally gave you peace. Well, it did. But after, a lot of talking to him with a capital H, and just really time. and knowing that that was the truth. And I mean, shaking my Pollyanna everything off, you know what I mean? But this is what I have to know for sure. And this is what I told this other person. God knows everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. He knows everything. And I have to trust in him that he knows everything and he is going to provide and he will bring everything out of the darkness into the light when you're ready and when he knows what is going on in his big puzzle.
Yeah, his big picture
of that whole situation.
Absolutely.
Okay? Which has brought me to the point that, you know, why I started the podcast was to help other women journey through unexpected suddenlies that changes their life. And I intend to do just that. And you were kind enough to come along.
And I've enjoyed the ride.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we really do enjoy hearing from our listeners. So please go to the website, submit,
sign up for email,
sign up for our emails,
subscribe or like and tell us how you feel about things and what you want to hear from us, because we're going to start having guests on. So what do you want to hear about? What do you want to know? Because I promise you, if you want to know it, I'll find the answer.
Oh, and that she will.
That's the truth. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm just the biggest nerd you've ever met in your life and researcher.
And with that being said,
I'll call Tucker.
Help us.
Oh, Tucker will tell me the truth or find it for me if I can't. But get ready for 2024 because it is going to be an interesting ride.
Absolutely.
We'll talk more about that next week, won't we, Sandy?
Absolutely.
In the meantime, we're not going to the chapel. We're going to continue to talk about, well, we'll go to the chapel sometime. But it's just all about life, love, and relationships. See and hear you next time or listen, whatever. Bye.
If you enjoyed the show today, share it with your friends so they can listen in to our conversations about life, love, and relationships. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Cinderella Chats, the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. We look forward to our Tuesdays together and know you will too.